questions on timelines. One with regards to the ongoing talks in Geneva right now regarding the JCPOA. What is the timetable for bringing Iran back into compliance, and in terms of the breakout time for the production potential of a nuclear weapon?
The timeline for getting them back at the table for direct...
What is the ultimate timeline in terms of getting them back to the table? Not the timeline for the specific round of talks, but the longer-term time to be able to get them back into compliance.
Well, look, first I would say, the talks are continuing today in Vienna. It's only the second day of talks. You may have seen a tweet from one of the European officials attending who called this, said there's unity and ambition, and that was their description of the conversations. This is just a constructive early step. We're at the earliest part of the process here. The primary issues, as you know, that will be discussed are both steps that would need to be taken for Iran to come back into compliance and the sanctions relief steps that the United States would need to take. But we expect these conversations to be difficult. We expect this to be a long process, and we're very much at just the beginning period.
There is time from the U.S. perspective for these talks to continue. Is that months? Is that years? What scale are we looking at?
I can't put a timeline on it, Zeke. We do feel, of course, that diplomacy is the right way to approach this challenge. That doing that in coordination and close cooperation with our partners is also exactly the right approach. That's what we're doing and what we're focused on now. It is a good sign and a good step that we are engaged in, even though these conversations are not direct at this point in time. But again, we're at the beginning of the process. I expect they may have more to read out once they complete this round of talks.
And the second timetable question, we heard the president talk a lot about when Americans will be eligible to get vaccinated. What is the president's timetable by which point all Americans should have already been vaccinated? What is his goal, his deadline for Americans to actually get the shot in arms?
Well, there's a role that the federal government can play, led by the president, of course, increasing the number of vaccine supply we have. He's done his job in that regard. We're going to have enough vaccine to vaccinate, more than enough, I should say, every adult American by the end of May. He has increased and invested in the number of people we have as vaccinators, increased the number of vaccination sites around the country, more than doubling the number of pharmacies, investing in mass vaccination sites, investing in community health centers. It is now incumbent upon the American people to do their job and continue to mask up, get the vaccine when they're eligible. We, of course, just launched a massive public campaign that is both paid media as well as investment in community organizations. But I can't make predictions for you here. That is going to be determined in large part by the American public.
So the president's timetable of July 4th activities, gatherings in the backyard, is independent from the rate of vaccination in the American public?
Well, I think what you were asking me is when he expects, if I heard the question correctly, the vast majority of the American public to be vaccinated. And what I'm conveying to you is that there's a role for the government to play, many roles for the government to play. We are moving forward on all of those fronts. But there is also a role for the American people to play, and that question will be answered in part by whether people get the vaccine when they are eligible. As it relates to July 4th barbecues, I mean, you can see the numbers that are reported regularly on vaccinations, the percentage of the public that's vaccinated, where we've seen success in different communities. Those are all numbers that are reported. What he's talking about is the ability to have a barbecue